Hey guys, Desolate Magic here, and apparently M19 has about 500 cards in the set because, well, more spoilers are out. For the record, I believe it's 300 plus at this point because they pulled Pokemon Secret Rare, and some cards are like 295 out of 280. So anyway, let's go in alphabetical order here and start with Aether Tunnel. Yes, I know it's Ether Tunnel. It's a running gag on my channel. They just couldn't get their technical crap together enough to leave it with the original, Greek character, Latin, whatever it was, and so I'm never going to let them forget it. Because, as it's written on the card now, that spells Aether. Anyway, enchant creature, it gets +1 attack, which is very unusual for blue, and can't be blocked, which is not unusual for blue. Also, that artwork is freaking amazing. Now you're thinking with portals. And apparently committing theft with it. So +1 attack and can't be blocked. That is a vicious combo. This only costs 2 and it's not double blue. I really feel like this should have been double blue. We've got double strikers, we've got giant lifelinkers, we've got creatures with an on-hit ability. You could throw this on anything. This is going to be devastating. The only thing is, okay, you use one removal spell, I should say your opponent does, and there goes 2 cards. But still, this is pretty good. Next up, Karn is apparently a book now. Arcane Encyclopedia costs 3 to get out, pay 3, tap it, draw a card, straight up. Cards like this historically haven't been that popular, but I think 3 and 3 is kind of reasonable. The only thing is this would be really useful if you've stalled out and you're top decking and you just need to do something. You would dump any amount of mana. You'd even pay 6 mana to draw a card. So why would you be like, yeah, that's going to happen to me on a consistent basis? If it is, fix your damn deck. And I don't mean put this in it. You'd almost to run this have to have every time you draw a card, blah, or for every card in your hand, blah, or if you have 7 cards in your hand, do this. I think you would need something to make this better. That said, I mean, consistent recurring draw, even if you have to pay for it, pretty damn good, especially in a mana ramp deck. So another really, really, really good card. Next up, Blanche Wood Armor. I don't know what went wrong with that artwork, but I think we can all agree something did. So it's a 3-cost enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each forest you control. So once again, massive, massive losses if they use a fatal push to destroy the creature that you put this on. Or I mean, even flicker, just anything happens to it and you lost 2 cards. That said, this is Blackblade Jr. If you had like a land draw, land fetch, whatever, explorer, scry, heavy, let's just get the lands on the field kind of deck, and then you put this in there with Blackblade, oh boy. It would almost have to be like a mono green Marwyn elf deck or something like that, but there is a deck that this would go in. It's not the most amazing card ever, but it's an uncommon. I just think it's good and worth mentioning. Next up, classic card, Crash Through. Not exactly new and not really exactly a reprint because it's in Hour of Devastation right now, but I love how they were just like, just throw some Space Egypt people on it, screw it. So with the exception of the fact that literally nobody is running this for any reason right now, creatures you control gain trample until end of turn and then you draw a card for 1 red, holy crap is that a good card. It's a common, but damn, it replaces itself. It's just, free mass trample, cool. It's just Red Rush does not need trample right now. This is more of a mid-game strategy, and it's only really useful if you're like, okay, I just got to get through, and if I swing, I'm not going to do enough damage. I'm going to lose half my creatures. It's a standoff, I just can't swing. But honestly, just like boosting all your creatures by 1 or 2 attack would probably be better, but this draws a card. So if you already have a boost thing, or you're just trying to flood even harder, dump tokens, whatever, this is the card for you. So it's a little bit narrow, but for 1, it's just good. Next up, Detection Tower. I don't think this will necessarily become that important in Standard. And this is technically a new card, but I know there's a couple like it. I think they're 1-cost artifacts or 0 drops, or I think one's like a lens or something. I don't remember. This might be the best iteration of it. It could be a $10 card just because of like Commander, maybe Modern, but I kind of doubt it. But it is a land, so you just drop it in, can't be countered straight up. Add 1 colorless, doesn't even come in tapped. Wonderful land so far. Pay 1, and that's it. Tap it, so in other words, pay 2 because you're losing the ability to tap this for mana then. And your opponents and creatures your opponents control with hexproof can be the target of spells and abilities you control as if they didn't have hexproof. So bye-bye, shall I? And there's a couple other hexproof creatures that are annoying. A lot of them are really big green creatures. But this is so specific. It is such a sideboard card, but I don't know. It's very valuable, and it really can't be stopped or destroyed very easily. So I'll say it's decent. You never know. Next up, Djinn of Wishes. This card's just broken. I hate this. I don't think it'll go in a broken deck, but this card is just in poor taste, and it's just evidence that Wizards will never, ever learn. They will never learn their lesson from Marvel. Never. Never in another set or another card ever in the entire future of the game should there ever be the phrase without paying its mana cost. Unless it's accompanied by, oh, it has to cost 2 or less, or something like that, or just drop it onto the battlefield, but only from the graveyard, and only, this restriction, that restriction. This is just stupid. So you bring it out for 5, it's flying, it's a 4/4, that's already not nothing. And then it enters the battlefield with 3 wish counters on it, which, yes, you can replicate those. And then pay 4, remove a wish counter from Djinn of Wishes, reveal the top card of your library. You may play that card without paying its mana cost. It does say play, so lands are included. If you don't, exile it. So land fetcher, but eventually you're going to hit some bomb spell. And honestly, if this was in like a Nissa Scry X deck, like a green, blue, you would be able to arrange what's on the top of your deck. And plus, there's a whole bunch of stuff that says, go get a dinosaur, put it on top of your deck. Go get a vampire, put it on top of your deck. So yeah, get ready to see a free Zakama on the battlefield. That'll be fun. I mean, blue is off color with dinosaurs, but you honestly never know. I mean, that's why I said I don't think this will go in anything good. It's just, you get 3 free spells. Really? I mean, it's hard to set up a combo with this card, but people need to be paying for their spells. That's why spells have a cost, okay? Free casting is bullshit. Stop doing it, Wizards. Next up, another Dragon Tribal card. Fun. I guess they were lying when they said that M19 won't add its own distinct thing. They did. It's called Dragons. It's a 3-cost artifact, and whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control after this is out, put a gold counter on Dragon's Horde, and then you can tap remove a gold counter from Dragon's Horde and draw a card. That's just nice. I mean, especially some kind of boost, more dragons, whatever. And then the rest of the time, you can just tap in and add 1 mana of any colors. So it's kind of like, some old Hedron cards or whatever. There have been a couple moderately successful cards that do something like this. I mean, it's nice. It's kind of mana ramp, which is nice because the dragons are really expensive. And it is mana of any color, so it's also kind of fixing. This is barely worth blowing up, and once you are, starting to maybe win the game with a couple dragons out, boom, draw some cards, no mana needed. So automatically include in Dragon's deck, it's just down to, will the Dragon's deck be a thing? I'm gonna lean towards no. Even with the 2 Sarkons both looking pretty good, it's so slow. What would you do to guard the first couple turns of the game? I mean, the deck just seems slow, unreliable, and like it would be a red deck that would lose to speed decks. That's messed up. But you never know, it might work out. I mean, until you see it being played and see the tournament results, you really don't know. Next up, Pyromancer's Cage. Well, it's cast out without flash and Ixalan's Binding without the name jamming. Oh, also, no cycling, so this is definitely dead on arrival, but if somebody really wants a universal removal shutdown deck, this'll do it. I should probably read the card. It's an enchantment cost 4 when Pyromancer's Cage enters the battlefield. Exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield, so they do get it back. Well, this would be a ride at the pre-release, so, I mean, there's that. Who knows, maybe a tertiary version of Ixalan's Binding will show up in a deck. Who knows? Next up, Leone Vanguard. Now, this one's interesting because it's a 1/1 for 1 with a pretty good ability, and those are always very popular. Like Dauntless, oh my gosh. So it's a cat soldier, so keep in mind, cat tribal. Cat tribal is going to be insane, and you'll see why in a second. Because, well, 1, it already is with Anointed, duh. And then there's a Balm and Eternalize. Honestly, Anointed is probably going to have to get banned. It's just that deck is so unbeatable right now. And it just got worse. So, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 3 or more creatures, not cats, just creatures, Leone Vanguard gets +1/+1 until end of turn, which is fantastic, and you gain 1 life. So whether you swing with it or not, this is not lifelink, boom, you're going to get 1. Then you get a life gain trigger, and some people do play Crested Sunmare in, cat decks because, there's the 1/1 lifelinker, and there's other cards. Cats and life gain don't go together all that well, but, authority of the consoles and stuff. So if you get to Crested, boom, Anointed, you get 2 horses. So this honestly just looks good. And the other thing is drop this directly into White-Green Flood, which I think is also going to be one of the, maybe not top decks, but an extremely popular deck. You got Shauna, you got the 2 Ajani's. I mean, it's going to be pretty nuts for about 3 months. If people want to go back that far to cards that are, cycling out, I say play the damn game. I'll worry about stuff cycling out like a week before it happens. Anyway, Leon War Leader is next. Here's where the Anointed Procession deck gets really, really real. Anointed Cats is so damn annoying, and there's like 4 different ways to build the deck, but guess what? Automatic include here with this rare. Cat Soldier, oh look, a cat. By the way, before I forget, you know that cat deck, the cat tribal deck with the cat dude on the front that was just in 2017? The sealed commander deck? Watch the price of it, because these are two pretty damn good cats. I don't think they're going to, turn the whole deck around, but you never know. Anyway, he's a 4/4 for 4, double white. Whenever he attacks, create 2, or, well, let's be honest, 4, because he'd be running Anointed Procession, white cat creature tokens with lifelink. Ooh, Crested Sunmare. And they're tapped and attacking. Okay, the Pirate Lady with Ragavan, where she creates a monkey every time. This is that, except they stick around, okay? There has been a virtually identical card. It was a Resco something or other. And I believe it hit 20 or 25 bucks. So, yeah, watch out for this card. The other thing is this doesn't have to be cat tribal. A 4/4 for 4 where every single time you attack, you create 2 1/1 lifelinkers attacking that stay out for the entire game. Oh, this is going to be in everything. Everything. Like, if you're playing white, you pretty much throw this in. I mean, it's 4, so you got to be a little careful, but damn, this is good. If somebody's stupid enough to sell this on pre-order for under $3, buy every single copy that they own, because they're an idiot. And idiots and their money are soon parted. Okay, I have to check what this is selling for on Card Kingdom. I kid you not, guys, I did not check this ahead of time. $3.49. Well, it's not under 3. I think it's bare minimum a $7 card, but we'll see. I mean, $3.50, I'm not exactly going to buy up 16 copies. Forebear's Blade, though, already tripled. It is only going to get worse. So next up, we've got Liliana's Contract. Oh my god, I need that in foil. I collect purple foils, and this is about as purple as it gets. Dude, Liliana's always supplying me with them dank-ass purple foils. So it's a rare enchantment, it costs 5. That's a little steep. I mean, you might as well just play Cruel Reality for 2 more mana. Just kidding, 5 and 7 are super far apart. But when it enters battlefield, you draw 4 cards and lose 4 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 4 or more demons with different names, you would have won the game anyway, so this card is pointless. As much as I hate alternate win conditions, this one is an absolute joke in Standard. In Commander, that's a different story. In Modern, I think this is totally not going to happen. You never know, though. But honestly, I wouldn't even put this in a Shadowborn Apostle deck. I mean, if you're going to go fetch and free cast like an 8-cost demon, just win the game with him. You don't need this. Plus, you're not going to get 3 more. I mean, this is just stupid. Like, what's the lowest cost, 4 demons anyway? Like, this is just stupid. It's a complete waste of a rare slot. Oh my gosh. Also, my biggest beef with this card is that it makes no sense. It doesn't line up with the lore or the storyline, her history. She didn't control them, she killed them, and winning the game would be getting out of the pact, which getting rid of the 4 didn't do. Literally not one word of this follows the storyline. So anyway, speaking of Liliana, we've got Liliana Untouched by Death. That's a 4-cost 4 loyalty, which is usually right where you want to be. The 3/3s are usually a little bit weak, not this time around, but yeah, 4 for 4, let's do it. She has no ultimate, but she does have a -3. But let's start in order here. +1, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. If at least one of them is a zombie card, I think they mean was, because it would have resolved at that point, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So in a zombie heavy deck, basically automatic include. Her -2, which you can right off the bat do twice. Target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of zombies you control. Sounds familiar. I think that's been on a couple cards or planeswalkers in the past. And that's just recurring removal, and it's very reliable. It plays around indestructible, so that's pretty good. So her -3 is you may cast zombie cards from your graveyard this turn. So if they all died and you can't get any synergy from your -2, just fix it. -3. Recast as many of them that died as you have mana for, and that is typical Necromancer stuff right there. So good flavor, good card. The thing is, it's really only good in zombies, and it's not crushing and just game ending in zombies. It's just good. I mean, the recurring removal is by far the best part, and the +2, -2, okay, you're drilling away at them. It's nice if you can't swing. It's just good. It's not whoa, it's just good. Next up, Make a Stand. It costs 3, it's an instant, and creatures you control get +1 attack and gain indestructible until end of turn. We needed this. As far as I recall, there is no card that does this in white, and oh my gosh. Fumigate will just obliterate certain white creature heavy decks. They're just gone. Now this won't stop Settle the Wreckage, so you're not just completely, invincible if you're running white. But so many decks, so many situations, especially ones that I built, they need this card mainboarded or in the sideboard. And the other thing is, +1 and indestructible, swing away. I mean, it's basically Song of Freyalise, which also, I would put this in a flood deck that runs white-green. You know, a Shana, a Johnny's Oath, you know, that deck. I'm about to roll out a deck tech with it, by the way, and that deck is very, very, very difficult to beat. But there's nothing you can do to save them except for Heroic Intervention. But if you're running mono-white, there is nothing you can do to save them. So, boom, right here. This is so important, even though it's a reprint from BFZ, I believe. By the way, I love that artwork, but it kind of looks like crap in foil. So bare minimum, put this in your sideboard. Classic sideboard staple. I don't see this going above $1, but it's just so important that this is a thing now. Next up, huge card. This may very well be the most expensive uncommon in the set. I think we've got another Aether Hub here. So Rupture Spider enters the battlefield tapped, which that takes it from a $10 card right on down to like 3 to 5. But when it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you pay 1. Okay, reasonable. I mean, you basically just wrote off 2 of your mana. This one because it came in tapped, and the other one because you had to pay 1. So maybe you could still do something on your turn, but after that, tap it for any color you want. Boom, right here. I mean, this is better than Spider of Industry. This is more reliable than Aether Hub because it doesn't, you know, just go off once and that's it. Otherwise, you need energy. If 3-color decks really take off, this is going to be the card. And remember, Ravnica is going to be all 3 and 4 color decks with what we know and what the staff has said already. They said some of the main mechanics involve mixing 2 guilds together. So it's going to be some kind of, Sunburst or Prism or whatever the hell they called that stupid thing that nobody played. Yeah, that mechanic's probably coming back, or something about color identity, and it'll be the opposite of devotion. So if these are cheap, I would buy them up. Like, we're talking $0.25 initially, like, because people are just like, it comes in tapped and you gotta pay for it. It's a turn ruiner. I mean, it does not go in fast decks. If that's the case, I would buy up about 100 of these before the Ravnica sets, just saying. So next up, Sun Cleanser. I guess people from Ixalan are in this set now. Whatever, it's basically Magic Origins. So this is interesting. It's a 1/4 for 2, which is actually pretty good. I mean, like those 0/3, 1/4 Explorer people and a couple of the Druids that tap for mana that have like 3 toughness, they actually, like in real play right now, will stall out, red 2/1s and, anything really. Vampires can't really easily get past a 4 toughness. I mean, they'll swing into it if they have lifelink, but that's about it. So this will shut down combat on turn 2. I mean, it's pretty good already, but get this. When it enters battlefield, remove all counters from target creature. It can't have counters put on it for as long as Sun Cleanser remains on the battlefield. So it is creatures only, but this is pretty funny. It's very specific. I mean, Sphinx of Magosi maybe. I mean, what else is there? Walking Ballista. Oh, as if they're not going to immediately launch all of the counters at your face then. That's why I hate that damn card. But the more important one is mode number 2. Target opponent loses all counters. That player can't get counters for as long as Sun Cleanser remains on the battlefield. Oh my gosh. By the way, target opponent, not target player. So you can't protect yourself from infect with this. If you could, that would be some funny crap. So between this and Solemnity, I think we're shutting down certain deck types. It's just, does that deck type exist right now? Probably not. And it only stops 1 Walking Ballista, and they're just gonna launch all the counters at your face. So it isn't great unless there's some creature I'm thinking of that I'm missing. But in like a what do you call it? A constrictor deck, I guess, like a constrictor counter multiplier deck, you can only stop 1 creature. Great. They bring out like a Gear Hulk and they'll just drop the counters on not that creature. But the second mode, bye-bye energy. So they printed a card that just shuts down energy for the entire rest of the game. They might as well forfeit if they're playing energy. And it only took, 5 sets? The flavor text on this card should have been, screw you, Mark Rosewater. He's the one who insisted that energy be not disruptible or interactable. It just needs to sit there and nobody can stop it. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't know his reasoning on that at all. He was wrong. That's provably true. Energy was broken. Energy decks were broken. They had to ban the shit out of them. Mark, you screwed up. It's a shame we didn't have Sun Cleanser literally in the same set as energy. Only people who play white would be able to stop it, but it might have been enough to pump the brakes a little bit. So next up, this is like OBA. Okay, this card is awesome just because it's awesome. It's not even a good card. Suspicious Bookcase. I read the title and I immediately started laughing because it's so stupid. Also, that has to be a reference to, it's either another card or it might even be from like a different game, but it was like Suspicious Chair or something like that. I mean, there was one in Unstable, but that's not the card I was thinking of, although that one's pretty funny too. It might have actually been in one of the D&D books, but it was like a suspicious something and it was like some stupid mundane piece of furniture. If anybody knows what that's referencing, I would love to know, because I've been thinking about it for like an hour and then I just gave up. So besides being a suspicious bookcase that's going to help you win the game, and yes, you can make this attack. You can just have the bookcase go walking out of the battlefield, whack somebody, because there's stuff that makes it drop defender. So that's just the greatest by itself. It's a 0/4 for 2, so, you know, like I said before, that's going to stop some stuff. I mean, this isn't a useless card. And then you pay 3, tap, and target creature can't be blocked this turn. That's not bad. I mean, that is like... Thassa did that. I mean, that ain't no joke of an ability. Like, things that recurringly made, you know, creatures unblockable in the past have been very popular and very successful. I mean, you shut down combat, get out something big, and use this to make it unblockable. Oh boy, you are going to do some damage. Mix this with Thorn Elemental, like, and anything else, and you could be doing, like, lethal damage just ta-da. The flavor text is, the logic of it, don't think too hard, but all the books were dusty with disuse, saved one titled Camouflage and its practical applications. Oh, and it's a suspicious bookcase, get it? So the bookcase was reading a book about what it's doing. I don't get it. And I don't care because this card's freaking awesome. Speaking of cards that are freaking awesome, Tezzeret, Artificer Master, or Artifice Master. Honestly, same thing. So he's a 5 loyalty for 5, which is on the upper bounds of a reasonably playable planeswalker, but still, you know, well within reasonable limits. His +1 is create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. So flying, damage in the air, blocker, you get your creature count, you get your artifact count. So it's just good. It's subtle, but it's good. 0, which is always good. Draw a card, which is also always good. So we've got Karn over here. If you control 3 or more artifacts, draw 2 cards instead. Let me add, if you don't control 3 or more artifacts, why is Tezzeret in your deck? It's kinda his thing. Okay, so this is better than Karn, but it is blue instead of colorless, so... yeah, this is already some crazy crap. So, he starts out with 5, and then goes +1, and has a -9, so you're never going to get there. But if you do, you will receive an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, search your library for a permanent card, and just put it straight onto the battlefield. Normally I'd be like, well, that's broken free casting with fetch built in, what the hell? But if you get to -9 one at a time, just win the game. I mean, I've seen worse emblems than this, to be honest. Emblems that take that many turns and that much loyalty, they're designed to win the game. That's the point. And honestly, I mean, a board wipe will still take it out, so... this isn't really, like, necessarily game ending, but it's pretty much game ending. So he's just, you know, an artifact enabler, and if he's the last card you drop out because he costs 5, and artifact decks tend to be pretty fast in blue, yeah, he'll keep your stuff going, I guess, you know, card draw and artifacts. So he's not like, whoa, I've never seen that before. It's just like, yeah, okay, put it in an artifact deck. I've got to say, though, even if he is in a blue deck that doesn't use a single artifact, that 0 draw a card with 5 loyalty before he's dead, that alone would be pretty good. I mean, just think of, like, an enchantment that says every upkeep, draw a card. It's a 5-cost blue card. People would play that, and this has options. You could also +1 him and bring out a Thopter if you absolutely needed one, so he's pretty darn good. So next up, I believe we only have 2 left here. Transmogrifying Wand. Oh, here we go. When it enters the battlefield, it enters with 3 charge counters on it. Oh, that's classic D&D. Eternal Wand here. And yeah, it costs 3, so, you know, alright, it's reasonable. You can get this out. You pay 1, tap it, and which you could do this immediately because it doesn't have summoning sickness. Remove a charge counter from Transmogrifying Wand and destroy target creature, and then in its place. So this is not Transmogrifying. Transmogrifying is where you turn something into something. This destroys it and replaces it, and there is a very, very important difference in the rules. That's why that Sphinx dump exiling card thing was so important, because of the way it was phrased. Boy, that hasn't been legal in a while. So its controller creates a 2/4 white ox creature token. So, you know, 2/4 ain't no joke. And of course, activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So here's the thing. Okay, you take down their 7/7 giant whatever, you know, super 12/12 trample dinosaur, or just whatever cool. What this is really for is take your garbage 1/1s like servos and turn them into 2/4s. Also, because of how it's phrased, this would go in a hidden stockpile deck because you would get Revolt every single turn. Now that said, hidden stockpile would, trigger Revolt because you can sack something. But this also costs 1, and you can sacrifice something effectively, and ta-da, you got a 2/4. Instead of nothing. It does suck that you can only do this 3 times, except if you were to flicker the wand, it states it enters the battlefield with 3 charge counters on it. So you might be able to do something, and flicker isn't unheard of in a Revolt deck. It's just, I have tried to build Revolt decks like 3 times now, and I just gave up because they're so slow and clunky and 3-color, it just doesn't work. That said, this wand is just fun. This card is fun. I like it. I'd put it in a commander deck just for a laugh. Just turn their commander into a frickin' ox. So finally, we've got Vampire Neonate. 0/3 for 1. So once again, you drop this out and they are done swinging. There's no point. I mean, unless they can flood swing you, one of their creatures is now rendered completely useless. This might as well almost be a removal spell. And then pay to tap him. So in other words, during your opponent's end step, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Now you can also boost him and use him in combat because remember, counters and passive boost with the Lord's cards basically in every tribal is how vampires work. So this is an automatic include in a vampire deck in my opinion. I mean, it's unblockable, unstoppable damage with life gain. You could even put it in like a life gain trigger deck now, like a not necessary vampires like exclusively, but just a good, life gain crested deck with other life gain triggers. Yeah, so watch for this. One of the best commons in the set by far. So that's it for the most noteworthy spoilers from the last, I believe, 2 days. I don't know if there's any more spoilers. There almost can't be at this point, and I'm too lazy to count. So maybe there will be another one of these videos, and maybe there won't. The only way to find out for sure is by pressing the subscribe button. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.